All right, welcome back to what is this? Episode 5 of the Joe Rogan Experience. I'm sorry, Thoughts in Stereo. In case you're new here, my name is Bijan Amir.
And I am Nick Henriquez.
We're a couple of producers from the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area. I'm not going to say Toronto because I never grew up in Toronto. I was just born there. Nick, where did you grow up?
I grew up till I was 10. I was in Mississauga.
You grew up until you were 10. And then that was it. That was it. You
then I was
stopped growing
done.
up. That was it. He was done growing up.
And then Etobicoke. And now Toronto.
Finally. Oh, so you just went from west to center.
From east to west. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Sorry. From west to center. Yes.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Jeez,
anyways, Jesus. What is our topic of discussion today?
Today we're going to be talking about networking, first impressions, risks and opportunities. Stuff like that.
Opportunities,
yeah.
How one can lead to another.
Yes.
How first impressions can be misleading sometimes,
mm-hmm.
and the importance of networking.
Very important.
Okay, so I think for the both of us, networking has been pretty much a very key factor in our success.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Absolutely.
How has networking impacted you?
I think when let's say you go to a party and you know that there's going to be some cool producers there, mm-hmm. songwriters, singers, whatever it may be.
Like the SoCan Awards?
Like the SoCan Awards. Perfect example.
I love the SoCan Awards.
Love the SoCan Awards. Every time you go there, you're going to meet new songwriters that you've heard about, that you've wanted to get in the studio with, and this is kind of your chance to go up to them. Be like, hey, this is what I've done. This is what I work on. Why don't we jump in the studio together? Let's find a time.
Yeah.
And so most of the time, they'll give you their number.
Yeah.
Like, here, text me. Sure. And now you have their number. Now you have that contact. Now you can message them almost whenever.
You can start building a relationship.
Yeah. Start building a relationship with them and start working on projects with them. And then you have your next goal. And then you want to meet the next person the next year. And you know what I mean? Like
you just kind of start building up your network, so to speak, of people.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly
how
it works. I mean, I guess so far, the one that's panned out for me in terms of networking was the Battle of the Beatmakers in 2014.
Nice.
When I was a part of that, thankfully. And, back then I didn't even think about that as like a networking opportunity. I was just like, okay, well, here's this, like, I'm just going to go play beats. And, if I do well, I do well. If not, whatever. I did it.
You didn't do well?
Buddy, I was out in the first round.
Oh, no.
Hey, but I lost to the guy, Jordan Manswell, shout out Jordan Manswell, who won the whole thing.
All right, yeah.
If I didn't face him, I would have gone second place. No, Jordan was Jordan is another kind of animal. Yeah. I wasn't ready to win that. But that's not the point. I met so many people there that were able to, like, indirectly and inadvertently open doors for me that I would have never expected to have opened. Like, sure. I met so many great local producers and songwriters and people from outside the city that came because, either they were participating or they were there to scout the talent. And it was like a super blessing. Also, that's where I met Metro for the first time. And like,
he was at Battle of the Beatmakers?
He was the judge.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he was one of the judges. So it was like very important for me to like I literally, this is all it was. Like, I went up to him and I was like, at that time, like, it was 2014. He was doing Days Before Rodeo, and like, mm-hmm. he was super, like, really almost right at, almost mm-hmm. at his peak where, he hit that in about 2017 when he was like doing everyone's tracks. But he was like really kind of underground, but going mainstream. So as somebody that was like really trying to buzz, I was like, oh, dude, like, you're super fire, and I really like your beats, and I look up to you. And that's what I said to him. I just walked up and I just dapped him up. I was like, yo, like, I'm a big fan of yours. Like, I really look up to you. Like, you're fire. And he was like, oh, man, like, thanks so much. Like, dap me up. And that was about it. And that was all it was, though.
Yeah.
But that's still networking.
That's still, yeah. Because then next time you see them, even if they don't remember your face, you can be like, yo, that one time, Battle of the Beatmakers.
That's what it was. And then the next year I emailed him, and he was like, I remember you.
Yeah.
But if I had never dapped him up, he would never have remembered me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing about networking. I think people have this idea that you're going to like a mixer, an event, or a function, and you're gonna, have a little drink in your hand and walk around and like schmooze up all these people. That's not what networking has to be. Yes, that can be networking, and that is networking. But networking can also be as simple as, hey man, I'm a fan, dap up. That's it. Or, hey, I'm a fan. How can we work? Get the email, get the phone number, and then proceed from there. So, I mean,
when I was like 14, 15, that kind of age, I used to go down to Miami every year for Miami Music Week.
Nice.
And it was during Ultra, and all the DJs were down there. And this is when I was trying to be a DJ.
Of course.
And whatever, back in the glory days.
Look at this guy going to Florida every year. Sick guy. Must be nice.
Sick.
Must be nice.
No, I used to go down, and that's the week, every DJ that you could imagine wanting to meet was down there.
Was there.
And they were walking down Collins Avenue, Ocean Drive, whatever. You can find them there if you just sat at a cafe all day.
Yeah, you just watch them walk by.
And that's what I did. I had a backpack, and I had
waiting for them?
No, I literally had a backpack with USBs that would like clip around your wrist into wristbands. Yes. And I would walk up to any DJ that I knew, like, and saw them, and I'd be like, hey man, I'm 15. Here's my tracks. Take my beats.
Was your mixes or your beats?
No, it was my like full like tracks, like original tracks. Yeah, I think there was like 5 or 6 of them on there.
Gotcha.
And
how many did you have?
I don't know. I had like hundreds of ideas that never got finished.
No, but I mean, like, how many wristbands did you bring?
Oh, probably like 60.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How many did you hand out?
All of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I came home with
grind. But we, when I say weeks, my brother and I, when we were down there tossing, like handing these things out, I never really thought anyone was going to get back to me. Like my contact information was in the USB and stuff like that.
If you're going to do USBs, quick side note, put your contact information. I've made that mistake before.
Always have your email and phone number.
Like a little note file or little whatever.
Put fucking every social media. Like you don't know which one's going to be most useful to them.
Yeah, exactly. If they're on their computer, maybe like that is the most important thing if you're handing out USBs. I've made that mistake. It's not good.
Yeah.
Continue.
So I didn't really know who was going to reach out. And then 2 weeks after I got home, this DJ, Laid Back Luke, who's like a legend in DJing. He's one of the best DJs in the world.
Nice.
And whatever. He hit me up on Twitter and was like, hey man, I got your USB and I heard this track. I think it was called like C's or something like that.
You definitely know what it was called.
It was definitely, I feel like it was
C's.
Don't
play it off.
So he was like, yeah, I love your track C's. I want to sign it to my record label. Sign just a single song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was how we did it back then.
Right.
Because they were like, they could have one good song and then 100 bad ones.
Yeah, right.
So I was all pumped. I was like, oh my God, Layback Luke wants to sign my track. This is crazy. And then I looked at his touring schedule to see if he's coming to Toronto so I can go see him.
Gotcha.
And he wasn't. He was going to Portugal. And I was going to Portugal the same day that he was going to Portugal.
What?
And I was like, fire. So when I landed,
it just so happened.
What? So when I landed, my cousin came to pick me up. She drove me 2 hours to the south of Portugal. I went to Layback Luke's hotel.
How did you know?
Because I messaged him back on Twitter and I was like, yo, I'm going back. I'm going to Portugal the same day. I'm going to come down to your show and we're going to hang out.
You just were assertive like
that.
15 years old.
Well, it was Eric texting for me.
Of course.
Yeah. But because I was,
you're a little 15-year-old.
Yeah.
You're a little bean.
Hey, please like me. Please like my songs.
I'm going to come to your hotel.
But yeah, so I went to his hotel. We were chatting, whatever, talking about music, played him some more songs. He didn't like any of them.
Oh.
So, and then we go out to his show. He plays the show. After the show, he sits me down and he goes, hey, so I want to sign you to a 10-year deal with me.
What?
And he wanted to sign me to a 10-year artist deal. And I was
he wanted to lock you up for 10 years?
In my mind, I was like, this is fucking sick.
Got my next 10 years planned out.
I was like, now I'm going to be touring for 10 years. I'm going to make $1 million. I was so pumped. And
15 years old.
And Jesus. I called Eric after that.
Oh, Eric didn't come with you?
No, Eric didn't come. So Eric was at our hotel.
He didn't come with you to the meeting?
He didn't come with me to the meeting because he was like, I'm tired, I'm going home.
Eric.
So I went with Layback.
He was 15.
So, yeah, he's like, I want to sign you for 10 years. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking sick. I was like, okay, let me talk to my brother. Let me check with my brother. And then I go to Eric, and Eric's like, you're not signing that deal.
Yeah,
obviously. There's no way.
Obviously.
And thank God I didn't.
Did he send you paperwork? Like, were you
No,
able to
it was
read the
literally
terms?
just talked about it.
Right.
But he told us all the terms. Like he was like 10 years, I own 50% of everything, you're touring everything.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh my!
And in my mind I was like, this is great.
I still get
deal.
half.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
That was a networking experience that happened for me. It didn't quite pan out, but you know what?
Which brings up another point.
Now every time I see Layback Luke, I say, what up?
Is it still love?
It's still love.
Okay, good.
I can still send him tracks if I want to.
So that actually brings up 2 points. The first one is don't let your don't let your stardom let you get caught up in signing something that you're gonna regret.
Yeah.
So because yes, you networked with Laid Back Luke and you're like, this is my hero and da-da-da, and then he presented you with this deal.
Yeah.
I feel like not everyone would have said no. Everyone would have been like, I'm signing to my
sure.
OG, like this is a legend.
Yeah.
This is amazing. This is gonna
There's
really
no
take
way
off
this can go bad.
right.
Yeah.
I'm still getting half the money. It's gonna take off my career, da-da-da. Always consult with a lawyer. It's not disrespectful to the artist. It's not disrespectful.
No,
You're looking
no
out
one
for
cares,
your
yeah.
career. You're looking out for yourself. Don't screw yourself over
Yeah.
because somebody's put a paper in front of you for you to sign to, because you're going to have a career. Like, it's not all, sometimes it's deceiving. So, always.
I've definitely, sorry.
No,
I've
go
definitely been afraid in the past
to be like, let me go look this over.
to look things over. I always have.
Yeah.
Because Eric in my ear, like you have to check.
You have to.
But I've always been afraid to kind of rebuttal on those points. Like if there's a deal on the table, I'm always like, I don't want to like piss them off.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Like deals are there to negotiate.
That's right.
Sorry, I know we weren't talking about deals today, but it came up. Yeah, they're there to negotiate. Don't ever feel like someone's gonna like pull back the deal because you just wanted to negotiate and meet halfway.
And if they do, that means that's not a deal you wanted to sign.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a person you want to be in business with.
Yeah.
But are we doing deals another day?
I don't know. I guess we
could
work it in.
Work it in somehow. But the second point on networking, what I'm going to bring up is that what you said, how it's still love. Nick turned down his offer clearly, and your relationship seems to be unharmed from it.
I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but yeah.
But I mean, it's not like you guys were best buds to begin with.
No, exactly. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But every time you see each other, it's love.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Even though Nick turned down his deal.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that you got to think, like, when you're at that stage when you're 15 or even if you're 25, or 35 and you haven't really gotten any cuts, so you're still young in the music industry, like whether or not how old you are in real life, if you're young in the music industry and someone like, Drake comes up to you, not Drake, I mean, whatever, like somebody, I'm just saying someone that's big, and successful comes up to you and he or she is like, sign this or sign to me or whatever. And you don't feel that it's right. And the people around you say, you know what? I don't think this is the one. You're not going to hurt their feelings. Like you could say, honestly, this isn't right for me at this moment. Like this isn't the thing for me right now. I mean, obviously don't go back and say this is shit. Like get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Shit. Like don't be rude about it.
Yeah.
But handle it gracefully and relationships remain. Like, Malcolm, my current manager, he was like, hey, let me manage you. And I was like, nah. Like when we first got into it, because I just wasn't like, I didn't feel like I needed
said no.
Oh, I fully said no.
What made you change your mind?
Well, because when he asked me, I just didn't feel like I really needed it. And so I was like, I don't think this is something that I'm really looking for right now, or that I need. So I'm like, why would I? But as time went on, like I think it was like a year or two after that, when school became like pretty busy, and I was still making beats, and then I started having people like hit me up, like, hey, can you send me a pack? Can you do this, thing, that? I was like, well, it's kind of hard right now for me to balance, full-time school and the business side, and sending things out for music and whatnot. So I was like, you know what, Malcolm, let's give this a shot. And, it's not like I said no to Malcolm. He's like, and then just like, never talk to me again.
There are a lot of people like that.
There are. But that's the wrong person to get into business.
Sucks.
If you see that, don't feel bad that you're like, oh, I made the wrong choice. Know that you made the right choice, because the right person will still believe in you even after you tell them no.
Yeah.
Because that means they're not looking at you for the present. They're looking at you for the long term, in my opinion, at least. Like, I know Malcolm was like, that's fine. Like, so when I said no, he's like, you know what, that's fine. I still rock with you. Let's still work. Maybe somewhere down the line we can make it work. And I was like, perfect. And I was like, oh, damn, like, that's cool. So then later down the line, and it did work, I'm like, you know what, let's make it happen. And that's how, so just because you say no to someone, it doesn't mean that things are ended. You're making a business choice for you. At the end of the day, as enjoyable as making music is, and you know, everyone loves to make music and it's fun, it's still business. You're still trying to live off this. So you got to make the decision that's best for you. You have to think about yourself in 10, 15, 20 years when maybe your career in the music industry as a musician is over, and how you're going to sustain yourself for the rest of your life. Like whether going into exec or label business or whatever, but set yourself up. So you got to make the decisions now so that you're ready to do that.
You never know when someone's gonna be able to help you.
Exactly. So even if you say no or yes, doesn't
Never
matter.
burn a bridge.
Never. Yeah, I mean, unless
that's one thing I heard so much from my dad.
Never burn a bridge.
Never burn a bridge.
Listen, Nicky.
Yeah.
Never burn a bridge. All right, buddy. I don't know why your dad is like. I'm sure your dad is the nicest guy. I don't know why I portrayed him like that. I'm sorry.
Jeez,
Mr.
man.
Enriquez. If you're watching this,
he's not watching this.
He will. but no, that's the point. So it's like, yeah, you won't burn a bridge by saying no. You're end of the day, you're looking out for yourself, and that's what's most important for you.
Yeah.
So yes. But that, and I want to transition that into, I guess it's not a really good transition. I'm just going to make our way into first impressions.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I guess it does tie into networking. When you meet someone for the first time, a lot of times you build something up to have a grand idea of what it's going to be when you meet your hero or meet, this person or that person. You think that they're going to be like, oh my God, you're so fire and da-da-da-da-da. And, I love you and I want to sign you and da-da-da. And a lot of people get discouraged when, after they meet someone for the first time, that person does not show as much interest in them as they would have hoped.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people do get discouraged from that. But I mean, have you ever had like a negative first impression with someone that maybe turned out for the positive? Or like, have you ever had a first impression that you kind of walked away from saying, I fucked up, or it was weird for them, or something like that?
I feel like I definitely have. I've had a couple sessions where like, I'll go in and I'll be like, fuck, I don't feel like working with this person today. Like,
so
just
you were off
just like, no, like their vibe.
Yeah.
Also, I guess I was off probably. Yes. That's what plays a part into it. But like they would come in and I sit there. I'm like, okay, I don't feel like doing this today. Let's just like throw some rough demo together. And then I say that, I'll produce it when I'm back home. Kind of just like, let's get this over with. I'm not feeling this today. Like, I'm just not vibing with the person. We can't really hang.
Click like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second session I do with them, had the most fun.
Right.
Like we were like drinking mimosas in the morning. Like I swear to God, it was the best thing ever. It was so much fun.
So you can't. I think you maybe came back in a different kind of mindset.
I think we both did. I think we were both in like a bad mood.
That one day.
Yeah.
Like, this session.
We both didn't have a morning coffee.
Right. You're just like walking into this like, damn, 9 a.m. is way too early to start doing dance music.
Yeah. No one's partying at 9.
Well,
some people are partying
I was about to say some people
are.
But yeah, so yeah, that's a thing. Like a lot of people, I think after you have your first session or your first meeting with someone, I had a session last year, April, I think, and it was with this up and coming artist who's gotten pretty hot as of late, actually. Should keep up with him. But I mean, we still have a good relationship. So anyways, this is a sidetrack. We had a first session and it didn't really go over as well as I would have hoped for. And he didn't record anything. He kind of just chilled there the whole time. Didn't really give me any indication that he was liking anything. He just was like, yeah, put this one aside.
Worst.
He was like, yeah, put this one aside.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like, yeah, this is hard, put it aside. It was, yeah, put this one aside. So I'm like, sometimes I feel like people do that just to feel like, I feel bad. Let me just put one or two aside. You know? So I'm like, I get into
or it's they don't want you to get too hyped.
That's the thing. And I get into my own head about it.
Yeah.
Which is another thing.
Because what if they hear it the second time and they're like, no, this isn't as fire as I thought it was the first time I heard it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't want you to get too excited.
That's a good point. No, that's a good point. But we didn't record anything. It was kind of like, whatever. And then, so the session ended. I was like, man, this kind of sucks. Like, that wasn't too good. And you always walk away from those sessions feeling like, what could I have done better?
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks to be in that mindset because, like, and what I'm about to get to is a lot of times it's not. And not a lot of times, but sometimes it's just not you. It's they're in the wrong kind of mindset for the day.
Yeah.
But if they don't make that clear, then you can feel like that reflects on you, which is kind of rough. So my point is, the second time that I saw him, we were in a completely different environment, and I think he was in a much better headspace than he was when we had our first session. And because he came up to me and he's like, "Hey, bro, like you're super fire," and this is a true story. He's like, our first session, I just wasn't like in the right mind space, and he told me why, and I definitely am not going to repeat it because it's way too personal. It was hilarious. Like it's nothing like super serious. It was, I mean, it's hilarious now looking back at it, but I'm sure on the day he was
Yeah, for sure.
not really, it was pretty ridiculous. And he was like, hey bro, I'm just like, I wasn't there that day. Like I had so much on my mind.
Mhm.
I was super freaking out about things. It wasn't right. But you're super fire. And my manager even told me, he's like, yo, these beats are fire. Like, how come? He's like, I just can't. Like, I just not there. Just don't even want to do it. And I was like, man, like that is so refreshing to hear, because I walked out of that session saying I just wasn't good enough. Or not good enough, but I just wasn't prepared for that. And then he was like, hey, let's do something. And I was at the studio with him. This is the second time. I played one beat and he's like, load it up. And as soon as I loaded up, he puts down a hook on it, and he was like, I got to go do this other song. Like, but, this is fire. Send this to me. I'll finish it.
That's dope.
And so I was like, damn, like, that's how, like, my first impression months later, almost a year later, was changed because of circumstances that had,
that's great, though,
information that I didn't know.
Because that second session that, like, brought you guys together and made you realize that you weren't shit.
Yeah.
You like feel so much more confident in
like,
that time.
You're like,
oh, sick.
It wasn't me.
Let's work now.
Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, and then that's what we did. As soon as this thing, as soon as loaded up the beat, he's like, yep, this is the one. Doop. First beat I played.
That's fucking sick.
And I was like, damn, bro, like that's fire. So, a lot of times with first impressions, you have to recognize if you know, like for that, I didn't know the information, so I blamed it on myself.
Yeah.
But if you have the information, like, I'm not saying nothing is ever your fault. Like sometimes I walk into sessions with a bad mindset, and sometimes
absolutely
you guys will too, and sometimes Nick will, and we'll just walk in and just like it'll be on us. And you have to recognize when it's on you and figure out, if you can do something better, or if it was just out of your control and it just wasn't your day.
Yeah.
But sometimes just walk out of things knowing, that's okay. Like, it didn't go so well. There's always a chance for another. I've had so many times where you have a first session with someone, doesn't really pan out. You kind of leave thinking, well, that's the last time I'll ever do that with that person.
Yeah. Like we kind of have I have a hit list of sessions that I want to do whenever I'm down in LA.
Yeah.
And there's some people that like, they're my friends, but I won't necessarily work with them every time.
Yes.
But like they're there for certain things. Like we've kind of outlined everyone's strengths, and like if we have pitches that we're going for,
to like you'd be like, all right, I'll pull you.
Okay, I'll bring these people in, type of thing. Like if I were to go into a new session with someone brand new and I got a bad vibe off them, I would just be like, okay, I'm not putting that person on my list. Like I don't want to work with them again because that session was really bad. And but like actually, like it sounds kind of harsh, but like
no,
that's what we do, and it's just to save us from having those sessions more often. And like you said, it affects us as the producer, because sometimes you're like, maybe I'm just shit. Maybe they couldn't sing something over, they couldn't write something over top because my beats are garbage. Like that's
you laugh, but it's true.
That's exactly that's exactly what goes through our head.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. I mean, it is funny when you think about it.
And then oftentimes, if you see that person again, whether it be hanging out or in another session, you're gonna end up having something in common with them and finding some sort of common ground to talk about and to become friends with them and start that relationship over on the right foot.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like, fuck that guy, I had a bad session with him, I'm never talking to him again. Like,
that's right.
No one ever should think that.
No.
And I'm sure there are like sour people that are like that, but stay away from those people.
Yeah, like a lot of times, like if someone gets a bad impression off you, like off of something you didn't really like, if not a bad impression, but like if it goes bad the first time and they just stay salty about it, or not salty per se, but excuse me.
Jeez, we boring you, Bijan?
It's only 6 a.m. over here. I said we're boring you idiot. No, I mean, a lot of times it's like, there's been experiences with people and, you kind of have one session with them and it doesn't go so great, and then kind of never hear back from them.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, like I get it.
There's this comment like, yeah, we'll work on it next time.
Oh, yeah, next time.
And in both your heads, you're like, there's no next time.
Literally never happening. Yeah. There's a lot of times like, yeah, we'll bookmark this. We'll come back to this. Yeah. We'll come back to this. Just leave it here. And it just never.
Let me sit on it for like a month.
Yeah. let me sleep on it for 30 days. Yeah. And then we'll see about it. And that's okay. Like things happen. Like, it's
Yeah,
not like
not
one
every
session
song.
isn't gonna destroy your whole career, and it shouldn't. And one session won't determine how good of a producer you are.
Yep.
I know for a fact a lot of times like big producers will send packs to artists. Or be in session with them, and the artist is like, I can't cut to any of these. Producers that like have big cuts.
I'm sure that happens.
Oh, of course. And then like I've seen it happen with this artist.
The thing is, those big guys who get all those cuts. I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry.
No, please. I want want that.
Those guys, those big guys that get all these amazing cuts. Those are the guys that don't let it
affect them.
They don't bring that loss home with them.
No. They're like,
it's not even a loss.
It's like it was another session.
Okay, you're not gonna like it. Somebody will.
Yeah,
Someone will take
exactly.
this. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. If
and
you're not,
they go home, they use that energy to make a new pack.
Yes.
And take it back to the next session with that same artist, and that oftentimes that second pack, they're like, ooh, shit.
Yeah, like
okay,
because you gotta just. It's hard for you to walk into a room with someone that you've never met who has a completely different musical style than your own, and completely different taste in music, and you're just like, okay, here's some beats, like they could be completely off the mark. That's why I usually like to start with sessions, be like, hey, play me something that you're working on.
Yeah, always.
And then you get a sense, and then if you're like, I know I don't have anything, you're like, hey, let's just make something new.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work out, they're like, I'm more of a beat kind of guy. I'm like, okay, well, here's some that I could fit. If not, you know what? Let me take it home, make some more stuff, and I'll bring it back to you.
If there's a session I'm like nervous about because I've really been wanting to get in with the person that I'm in with, I'll ask their publisher or manager, hey, can you send through some stuff that's like unreleased or some stuff that they've been writing recently?
Yeah. And then what?
Oh shit! Bracelet came off. I'll listen to their stuff and I'll kind of make a SoundCloud playlist or a Spotify playlist of similar stuff in that vein.
See? Take notes. That's really smart.
Like I do that because then I can obsess about those like 10 songs I put in the playlist on the way to the session, the week of the session, and then when I get into the session, I'm ready.
This guy does his homework.
And even when they bring up like, oh yeah, I kind of want to sound like this person, I'm like, yeah, I know.
I've been ready for this.
Did my homework.
This has been in my playlist for 3 months.
I've been waiting
for this. No, but that's such a smart thing to do because
it's just always be prepared.
Always be, and it is such that Spotify, like you're doing your research and your homework on the people you're sitting down with, and that is such a smart thing to do because you're like, okay, these are the kind of beats, if you have some, first of all, that I know I can prepare.
Yeah.
Or that I know that I have that I could set aside. Number 2, when I get to the session, I already know kind of the vibe to start off of.
Yeah.
And that's so, like, that is literally so invaluable.
Like, right away, you already know their tempo. You already know.
Yeah. Because you're not going to go to a West Coast artist.
And be like, here's 150 BPM.
Like, here's an 150, like, trap record. They're going to be like, okay. And then you get like a lot. Sometimes they'll do, and I'm not going to say like no West Coast artists do that. Yes, they'll do it, but a lot of times, like not a lot of times, but like West Coast artists,
give me the 100 BPM
they
bounce.
love that. They love the West Coast bounce, and they're comfortable on that. And you're like, all right, cool, like exactly. So like when I'm with a West Coast artist, I'm like, here's my West Coast selection, and they're like, yo, those are hard because I could play them other hard beats that somebody from Toronto would take, somebody from another person from like Philadelphia will take, maybe like Philly, like Meek Mill, like he'll take it, maybe. But the West Coast artist, I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but it's not me.
Yeah,
and that's okay. So a lot of times it's about knowing your opponent, knowing the artist that you're going to be in with, and being ready to present them with something or be ready to cook up for them, and that just makes your first session a little bit easier.
Yeah,
like
and with that, what I try to do is, if I know, let's say you're going in with a West Coast artist, and you're like, all right, what's the next sound? Like right now, that like
what's the
Blueface kind of like that, like
that's classic West Coast.
Yeah, that's like that's coming back harder now.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Yeah.
And kind of taking that risk.
How to take it like a little bit of what's tomorrow and what's today.
and kind of taking that risk to try and start your own next thing. Because that's how the new styles start, is when the producer takes like a weird turn.
Yeah, and they're like, oh,
and you're like, oh shit, that kind of works.
Oh,
no one's done this before.
I like this. Yeah. And then you have to be with the artist that's willing to kind of go there too.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people like. The funny thing is about West Coast artists, as long as it has like that, like kind of like that fast BPM, that like bouncy groove, like they don't really like. They're pretty open to that. Kind of
that's 100% my favorite hip hop groove.
Right,
is the West Coast. Like, what's that? The Splashing
Yeah,
song?
oh, yeah.
Who did Splashing? Rich the Kid?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we gonna fuck little mama.
I think so. I don't want to say. I don't know for sure.
Sure, spent
But
100 on some new sex.
right,
Love
but
that
he's
song.
from
Oh,
Atlanta. That's the
man.
funny thing. That West
Love
Coast bounce
that.
is kind of transferring
Yeah.
over across the
Yeah.
world, which is like right now it's super hot. Like that up tempo is hot. Ric Flair drip. Everybody from that song is from Atlanta.
Yeah.
However, it's 100 BPM, like a West Coast kind of bounce.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the funny thing. Like it's the West Coast is kind of in right now, which is dope. But we'll see. We'll see what's next after that. We'll see.
When you moving to the West Coast?
If I tell you, I have to kill you.
Come on.
No, honestly, I said that because I have no idea,
Fuck.
and I just want to kill you.
Oh, thanks.
Like in general.
I want you to move there.
No, I know.
I know. It's a whole other. It's so many moving parts.
It's a lot of
I know.
moving parts. And
I know.
And I can't. I don't want to say like I don't want to be like yeah for sure like
no,
next
of
year
course.
because
No, of course.
because I don't know
For
yet.
sure.
But when I have a more clear idea,
Yeah.
then I'll be able to speak on it.
Yeah.
But I was just there recently for like a month,
Yeah.
so it was a good experience.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like enough time still, so that's how I know I have to like at least for a year
Yeah.
go out and get a little spot,
Yeah.
rent something. Get a roommate, maybe. I don't know. LA lifestyle. Like, like too expensive to live there by myself.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
So,
man.
yeah, you're telling me. So, yeah, so we'll see. The last thing I want to touch on today.
Risks and opportunities.
Risks and opportunities.
Yes.
Taking risks that could lead to opportunities and how important it is to do something because it may pay off versus not doing something because you think it won't, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Like, it's like...
I get it because I know what we're talking about.
Right. So
yeah.
it's like, do something because it could pay off.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't not
do something.
Do it.
Don't not do something because you're scared of what the bad outcome. Yeah.
Right. Because what's the worst that can happen? You get a
roadmap
no.
for this analogy.
Right. Well, take a left at
Yeah.
yes, and you go a little bit further. There's a fork in the road. But that's the thing. Like, it's so important for people to realize that the worst thing that you can hear from someone is no.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? Like, what, they're going to say no? I'm never speaking to you ever again. Get the hell out of my face. No.
they're never
Unless you're
gonna
being
say
an
that.
obnoxious douche.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're like, hey, like, you pull up on someone, you're like, hey, like, I'm a big fan. I know you don't know me, but, like, let's work sometime. Maybe I could show you some stuff. I could email. And they're like, nah. They're like, okay. Like, and
Yeah.
it sucks to
Like,
hear.
like some of the time they'll be like, nah, man, I don't really work with people who like that's not
That's
my
not my
crew
style.
right
I got to
now."
know you.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you got to just say, and if
And
you're that
you're
type
like-
of person, you're like, well, let me get to know you. Like, if you
Or
persistent,
you're,
like,
or you're like, cool, then let me send you some shit, and then you send them stuff,
That's
and
the
they're
thing.
like, ooh,
let me get to
Should
know
get
you.
in
Let
with
me
this
send
kid.
you some stuff. Let me show you why I deserve to work with you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Don't, like, as soon as you hear a no,
Mhm.
don't take that as like, "Pff, all right, it's done. Like,
If you ever find yourself in a situation like at the SoCan Awards, and you don't know a lot of people there, just talk to every single person.
yeah,
It doesn't matter if they're a lawyer, doesn't matter if they work at SoCan even, or if they're whatever they are. Talk to them, make that connection. You don't know who they are, you don't know what it
Yeah.
could pan out to be.
exactly.
Take that risk, like Bijan said. If you walk up to a songwriter and you're like, "Oh my God, hey, what's your name?" and the guy's like, "I'm,"
I write for this person.
and you're
this
like, "Oh shit, oh I know that song. You wrote that? No way, that's fucking awesome.
thank you.
Yo, let's get in the studio next week." And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm actually flying to LA next week for 3 weeks. Maybe when I get back, hit me up. Here, take my number."
Boom.
Boom. There's a connection made. There's another session with a person that you didn't know.
That
And
you
then-
didn't expect
and-
to have a
and
session
then-
with.
and that you didn't even expect to have a session with 2 minutes before. And then that person brings their friend that's also a sick writer
And they've
that writes
written
other
for-
big songs. And then you do a session with that guy, and that guy brings other people. It's just like
And she brings him, and him.
Oh,
he
man.
brings her, and this.
it's a great it's a great chain reaction.
That's right.
That
And
happens.
that's exactly right, Nick. It's so important because you really never know. Because that's the way you got to think about it is you take the risk. The worst thing you're going to hear is a no, even
Yeah.
if you persist. The worst thing you're going to hear is a no, and they might respect you for even persisting after the no,
Yeah.
which still leaves a positive look in their
They're
book.
gonna walk away and go, "This guy's a go-getter."
Yes, even
Okay,
if it's a
yeah.
no, they're like, but he's a go-getter, and
Yeah.
I respect that, and I'll keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
And then the best thing that can happen is you get the contact and you get a yes and you set up a session.
Yeah.
So like that's a lot of time people get in their head when they think hearing a no is all like it's the end of the world. Like, oh my God, what if they say no to me? Like, what if it doesn't go the way I want it to go?
Yeah.
Well, that's how it works. Like, that's the music industry. A lot of times it's not going to go how you think it's going to go.
Yeah.
But it could lead to something that's either better or the same, but just through a different route.
Mm-hmm.
So exactly what you said, like walking up to me, like I recently did a session with someone and I was like, we were like, vibing, and we just spent an hour talking about like Star Wars before the session.
Love that.
Right. Because I was like, I walked into his, like, he had like a home, but it was like his studio home. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like a house, but it was this place where all his people worked.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a lot of Star Wars paraphernalia. And I was like, okay, so like this is how I'm going to approach the situation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Okay, let's work.
Oh, I love Star Wars.
Yeah, I literally walked up and he was like, hey, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, hey. And I'm like, Star Wars fan, huh? And I was like, nice, nice Darth Vader replica. Like, helmet.
Yeah.
Like, he had this really dope, like, Darth Vader, like, 1-to-1 helmet. It was sick. And he's like, oh, you're a Star Wars fan? And I was like, yeah. And then we literally talked about movies and Star Wars and just general whatever for an hour. And this is like a big producer, like someone that I was nervous to kind of be with. So sorry about that. Our camera cut out for a second, but we're right back at it. Anyways, like I was saying, so he had, and this is a big pop producer, mind you, and like a big, just overall, like he is successful. And I was nervous walking into the session because first of all, I don't do pop. Well, at least I don't do pop like you do.
Yeah.
Or like dance music. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not as versed in that topic.
So you're saying you're not as good as me?
Yes, in dance music, in producing dance music and EDM, 100% not a chance. So like that's the thing. So I was like, I walked into this, I was like, how am I going to connect to this guy? Because what if like the music we're producing is completely different? How am I going to make this connection? What if he thinks he's like, what if he's like, okay, show me what you got. Like, and it's just like one of those. And he's like, I'm not impressed with these because none of these are pop music. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay. But like I said, I noticed the Star Wars thing. And as soon as he comes up, we do our introductions. I'm like, nice, Darth Vader helmet. And that literally brought us into an hour-long conversation about movies, Star Wars, whatever it was. And we like super into it. Like dude was like, he's getting ringers on his phone. He's like flipped it over. Like he was so into this. Like he was so into it. And by that point, we had already built up a great relationship, getting to know each other just in that hour. Like, because it was beyond movies, getting to know who each other's were and like da-da-da. And then our session, like we didn't make anything, but we just were like, hey, I'll show you my stuff and you show me, yours. And it just went so well. So I was like, damn, like this really paid off for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like one of those ones that I walked into it kind of apprehensively. And just by knowing, like, I could just look at something, see like, okay, this is a conversation point, or this is how I can kind of get to know this person, and then kind of take it from there. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of
within that first hour, you become so close.
Yeah,
that even if you did end up making something, you're already so comfortable with the person.
Exactly.
And you're like vibing, you're almost like dancing around, like you're making jokes to them.
That's literally exactly what happened.
I love that.
That's literally
you're so much more confident when you're comfortable.
Exactly.
If you're in there, you're like nervous. Like the worst is not the worst, but like sometimes obviously it works, but if two people just come into the studio and right away, hey, nice to meet you. Okay, what are we doing today? Right. And you sit down. It's like a business meeting.
Yeah,
we're like, sure, I've had songs that pan out like that. They're cool tracks. I love them, but like, there's nothing beats when you're in there with like someone you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and you're like, let's just do this because even if you're comfortable with it, and even if you like, for my case, we didn't end up producing anything, but say for your case, you get real comfortable with this person, and then it doesn't work out. It's okay because you're still like buds.
Yeah,
like you're still friends.
Like I'm sure, like you made that connection. Now I'm sure that if you played them stuff, if an opportunity comes up in the future, they're like, oh shit, this guy played me some stuff like this. Stuff
that was like super fire. I'll pull him in for her session. I'll pull him in for his session because I know that they can do this, and I like them because I've seen them in the studio and I've, like got to know them to the point where I can trust them. Yeah, that's the most important thing. So that's why, like, I don't know how I tied this back into risk, but
take a risk.
Take a risk. No, but
I have no idea.
No.
Great story though.
Thanks.
It was helpful. I mean,
no, it's. I mean, I guess the point is like I was kind of taking a risk walking into a session that I was kind of out of my depth.
Yeah. That's
so I was like,
what it was.
This is a #1 pop producer. I have one big song in hip hop. Like, and this guy has produced like Demi Lovato, Alessia Cara.
Who were you in with?
Should I say the name?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. Like, no one cares.
I was in with Oak Felder, his name is.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have you met him?
No, I've never met him.
Great guy. Fantastic.
awesome,
Nothing.
though.
I have
He's
nothing
sick.
but good things to say about him.
Yeah.
Extremely great guy. He's sick. And so he was playing me some stuff, and I was like, bro, like, this is incredible. And he was like, man, your production is great, and like, da da da. And we really like, jived. And the people that he keeps around him, we were rocking with each other. And his
Yeah.
wife, I was speaking with his wife, and we just got to talking about his, his ethnicity, because he was born in Turkey,
Oh shit.
and he lived there until I think he said he was about 21. And I was like, I would never have guessed.
Yeah.
Like, he has, it sounds like he's been in the States. So I was like, tell me about that. Like, what is that like? And he's like,
Yeah.
I go there often. Like, or I think he said,
Does he have an accent?
no, that's the thing. I was like, you have no accent. He's like, that's funny, because like, I think that I hear myself having an accent
Yeah.
sometimes. I think my wife hears it too. I'm like, dude, if you told me you're born in LA and you're raised here, I would have believed you. And I'm usually pretty good with accents.
Yeah,
like, I can
yeah.
pick up little things. I'm like a parrot. And I telling you, dude sounded like he had lived in the US for less time than he had lived in Turkey.
Wow.
And I'm like, do you speak Turkish? Which was a dumb question, because obviously. And he was like, I just want to see. And he was like, yeah, it's my first language. I'm like, dude, what?
The fuck?
Yeah.
I have no accent. My dad's been here longer than he was in Portugal, and he has a heavy Portuguese accent.
I'm telling you, Oak has, in my opinion, no accent.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And honestly, the nicest guy.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. So a lot of times the thing is, like, I guess I'll tie this back in somehow. Like when you a lot of times you build something up to be kind of like nerve wracking, when you're like, oh my God, like this is this big pop producer, and like I'm just me, and like whatever.
Oh, just little old
I'm just
me.
little old me. But like usually there's a reason that you're in the position that you're in, or the place that you're at.
You wouldn't have got the session if you weren't prepared for it.
Exactly. So, and for him, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like, as soon as I saw the Star Wars stuff, I'm like, I'm a fan of Star Wars. I know enough to hold conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna build off that, and then it worked out for the better. What I want to say, one more thing, just from my point of view, speaking on risk and like what you said, like just saying what up to someone. When I went to the Dreamville camp earlier this year, there were so many times like that building had like 300 people in it, easy. Like at one point, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm always bad at estimating like numbers and stuff, but. Which is funny because I'm great at math, but I just can't like. But besides the point, I met a lot of people that I'm huge fans of.
Yeah.
Swiss Beats, J. Cole.
Yeah.
Like countless other people. Monte Booker, amazing producer, and then the rest of the Dreamville roster: Cause, Jid, Boss, Earth Gang, and I was like, dude, like this is so cool, and I really wanted to make the most of the situation, and so I was like. Just anytime I walked up to any of them, I was just like, hey, like, I'm a big fan. I know you don't know me, but I did Ric Flair Jip. I'm a big fan. Can we work? And I want to say, like, every single time, I don't think I got any. Everyone was like, yeah, for sure. Here's my number, mind you.
Yeah.
Like,
that's not easy to get. Sometimes you get a manager's email.
Yeah.
Or like an info at.
Yes.
And then
or they're like, oh,
yeah.
Here's my boy. Friend, take his number for me. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh, this is my guy. He'll take your number and I'll get back.
Yeah, for sure.
But like even like the guys that the top dogs were
because they know, okay, this kid worked his way into this camp. He's here for a reason. He's clearly dope.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and if he comes, and I was like, it was the very last day at the very very last second. And I was like, Cole, I'm a huge fan. Like, I looked up to you. Like, you finished school. You're a musician. You're amazing producer. And I've looked up to you since I started producing. And he was like, bro, like, I'm like, how can we work? And he's like, oh, just take my number. There you go. Send me some stuff.
Dope.
Like, bro, like, what? Like, so I mean, like, and I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, guys, look.
No,
but it's like,
for sure.
But like, that's J. Cole,
Yeah,
and I was me. Like, and in the eyes of J. Cole, I'm nobody. I'm just another kid at his camp that somehow got in. And he was like, oh yeah, for sure. So it's like a lot of times, like, you're gonna be like, well, J. Cole won't know who I am, so like, why am I gonna bother wasting his time? If I thought that until the last second, I was like, if I don't try this, I'm gonna go back home disappointed
and be like, oh, I should have tried that.
And that's what happened. So what I tell people now when they ask me about it is like, bro, just try it. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
They're
you
like,
tried it.
No.
They're like, nah, I don't really give my number out like that. You're like, fair enough. It's not an unreasonable thing to say. Fair enough. All right, cool.
All right, give me your manager's email.
Yeah, like, let me. How can I just say what's the best way for me to connect with you? They're like, yo, send it to my manager. Send it to this email, whatever, and then work on it from there. Like, hey, and then when you follow up, like, hey, nice meeting you. Sending some stuff, and then follow up like usually a day after, like quickly, so that you don't go out of mind. But like that's the thing. Like a lot of times It's as easy as walking up to someone and saying, hey, how can we work? I'm a big fan. I know someone that got on Metro Boomin's album,
Yeah.
Sean, who did guitar on the last track on the album, because he saw Metro at the mall and he walked up to Metro and he said, I'm a big fan. I play the guitar. How can I get in with you? And he's had like 5 sessions with Metro, like doing guitar for him now.
That's fucking sick.
Literally just walked up to him at the mall.
See,
and was
the
like,
payoff is so good if you just take that
the little jump.
little jump.
Anything else that you want to add?
I honestly, it's like I said, it's just like when I was explaining the Miami story. Take the risk.
Take the risk.
Message everyone.
Yeah.
Big or small.
Doesn't. That's the thing. A lot of times, those DMs that you send to a big person, to an A&R, to an artist, they see that. And I've had people respond to me on the DMs, like reaching out. That I was like, damn, I would never have expected that.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is like crazy.
Reach out to everyone.
And don't
no
reach out and just be like,
ceiling,
yo, check me out.
Yeah. Like,
be smart about it.
Like when I was again, I always talk about when I was DJing. When I was DJing, people were sending me like promos to play on my radio show or whatever, stuff like that. They would be like, I would get some messages where it was just like, hey man, I just released a new track. Can you post it on your page? And I'm like, okay, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't know who you, I don't know who, why would I do that? You know, send me a message. Yo, what's up? Like your stuff, you know? If I'm messaging someone, I'm always like, yo, I first of all, if I'm messaging someone, I'm looking at their Instagram to see what they did today. See what they did yesterday. Yeah. Look at what their couple last posts are. See what their tag posts are. Like it's you gotta go and do
your
that.
Homework.
You gotta do your homework because then you can be like, "Yo, saw you just got back from Aruba. What's up?
How was that?
Some way to relate, you know?
Yeah,
just like, some sort of. So then they're like, "Oh shit, cool. Let me check this guy out real quick because he seems nice."
Yeah, I hope you had a nice trip.
It's not just like, "Yo, here's a link to my beats. They're fire. Or go listen now."
Yo, check me out. Or you're a pussy.
Hate that.
Like, I've had people just hit me up like, excuse me, like be like, check me out, SoundCloud.
Yeah, that's no.
Yo, send my stuff to Metro. Like, just like the most like demanding for no reason. It's like, what are you doing? Like, at least be like, hey,
where is that gonna get you?
Where is it gonna like you? Like the thing is like, take the risks, but be smart about how you take them.
Yeah.
Like, don't just be like, hey.
Always kill with kindness.
I like that.
People cannot. Even if someone's being a dick to you, if you're being extremely nice back, they feel like such an idiot.
It's the best.
Like you gotta be. If you're overly nice,
yeah, the best is like, hey man, like I'm a big fan. Like, you know, can I send you some beats? And they're like, nah, fuck you. You're like, okay, thank you.
You're like, okay, thanks for your time, man. No problem.
No problem. Let me know if you ever change your mind.
Yeah.
Smiley face. Ooh, that gets them.
And then
so
they're
good.
like, ah, shit, shouldn't have not been mean to that kid.
Like, all right, send the beats. They're like mad about it, but they're like, fine, I'll listen.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, always be polite to people. Always do your homework. Just know who you're talking to.
Yes.
All right, I think that wraps about episode 5.
That wraps episode 5. Thanks for listening.
Thank
Again, just want to be totally honest. We're recording these pretty close together because we're trying to stockpile them to come up with the release. And if something feels a little, I don't know, we haven't been talking anything we haven't been talking about anything that's like current right now.
Yeah.
So I guess it wouldn't affect, but just to let you guys know. I just want them to know because in case like first 3 episodes come out and someone like sends a request and we don't get to it until like
right. I see what you're going.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like
we're recording these back to back, so
yeah.
If please send us your request, but if we don't get to it for a little, this is why, because we haven't released these yet.
Yes,
and we haven't been we're not releasing these live, so we will still read everyone's requests for topics or for whatever you want, but. That's the reason if it doesn't come out as quick as you might hope. But regardless of that, just smash that subscribe button. Thumbs if you liked it. Thumbs up. Do they do that on iTunes? I think. Thumbs up. Subscribe. All that fun stuff. We're coming with more content.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as we get off the ground, it's going to be crazy.
Lots of guests coming in.
Yes.
Lots of fun stuff we're going to be doing. Different things on our social medias that we'll be doing.
Segments on the show, all that kind of stuff. So keep in the know.
Follow our Instagram, Thoughts in Stereo. Follow our Twitter, Thoughts in Stereo.
The handle was
Thoughts
too long.
In Stereo, okay?
It's Thoughts in Stereo, no O at the
Fucking
end.
Twitter
it was too
account.
long. Thanks for listening again, and with that, we're off.